Hey Patrick, great work today. Great work today. We did a lot of different things. I think I'm gonna go over the um, the basic pad chord progression for Wild World. Yeah, Wild World, I should say, by Cat Stevens. Um, but first, what I'll say is I liked what you were doing with your scales and the modes. Um, for the E pentatonic and for the G major. That's all we kind of worked on today as far as those things were concerned, the patterns. Um, the solos, I want you to work a lot more on your solos because it's going to have everything to do with when you do those solo performances as far as like playing the songs like Stand By Me, the when you're doing that, because there's going to be points when you're going to want to put solos in there, and there's ways of doing that. But for now, I want you to get a basic fundamental understanding of how to express certain ideas when you play your solos. Okay, so having said that, when I play the chord progressions, because I was playing Wild World as far as a chord progression for you to do like your blues scales and your G major scales, and then I actually played an E pentatonic kind of a chord blues chord progression in there as well. Now, when we started on the G major, and I just had you play solos over Wild World. Um, there's a lot of things that could be done in there. But what I want you to do is work on simple ideas, like a phrase. Okay, phrase could be like four notes. Um, so if I'm playing like something like that, I want you to just kind of like let yourself go and kind of. I have all right. So we have three here. We have three here. Six notes. And you just kind of you could stay in one position if you want, and just kind of let your mind kind of go free a little bit. It might not sound like it's making sense, but it's kind of like the way in which you play those notes. So, right, right, and you just try and keep the ideas simple, right? What you don't want to do is when you're hearing a chord progression, if you're working in a certain position, and it might be fairly new, the mode that you might be working in, whatever the area of the guitar you're in, try to just kind of stick to just a few notes, where you're not, it doesn't sound like you're kind of trying to find the proper notes to play in there. So what I mean is go with uh go with the mood of the song. Take your time and hear certain the measures, right? So I would wait and let the chords play. I would wait and I would wait, like maybe let the chords play for a little while, maybe a couple of measures. It could be maybe four or five measures. You just kind of absorb what you hear. And no matter how limited you might be as far as knowing your modes perfectly, you may because you're still learning, how to express those modes a certain way. Just stay in a certain spot. What I would do is I would challenge myself. Let's say I was in the third mode, right? and I wanted to play a solo there, I would keep the idea simple, you know. So it's not something where, oh, it's got to be exactly this or exactly that. It's just a matter of you just kind of whatever limitation you might have as far as, okay, I don't know all the proper positions as far as notes are concerned in this position that I'm in. But what I can do is I can play in the mood of the song. You know, when you do it that way, when you play within the mood of the song, like I said, take your time and absorb the rhythms. Then when you actually learn the different, you get more confident with the different positions, then you will be able to put everything together, and then it will really make sense. But for now, like I said, you just stick with a few notes here and there, and just kind of try to match the mood of the rhythms. Okay, and that's basically it. And that's how we're gonna go and approach this song and all the other songs that come up. Okay. The blues progression, I want you to do the same thing, and you started to, and that's the irony of the whole thing. The feeling and everything came in, and the comfort level came in when we worked on the blues progressions, and you played within the key of E pentatonic. That's when I saw you move over to your third mode, and you were just kind of, and it looked like you were comfortable in that spot there. So that was good. That was good. And the thing was, I actually saw you kind of doing this too. You were kind of moving to that chord progression, and that's actually what happens with the blues progression. This is what usually happens naturally. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and it sounded really good too. All right, so you keep, if it's easier for you to understand this concept when we're dealing with like the major scale, do it. Just kind of go into, okay, this is what happened when I played the pentatonic, and all I need to do is use the same mindset when I approach all the other types of keys that I might be playing, and if it's a major key or something like that. Okay. Okay. So, having said that, let's go into the mannerism in which we're going to play the Wild World song by Cat Stevens. Remember, I'm just going to play just a few of the chords. I'm actually just going to play what I've been playing in this video. But I want you to just kind of understand the breakdown of the chord progression. You're just going to hit the root twice, like we went over, just, and then you, right? This is kind of, it's a deep song. It's like a moderate to like slow/moderate tempo. So there's a couple of ways of playing it, but because of what I want to start to get you into as far as playing the melody as at the same time as the chord progression, because the melody is in there, but we're going to play it a certain way so that we can get to that point. We'll start off this way. Okay, so it's A minor, D, G, C, F, D minor, and then an E. Okay, so root will be played twice, and then you're going to strum upward for the rest of the chord. All right, and then, and then we have the E. All right, so you saw, okay, that was the root. I was hitting the root twice for each of the chords. So the root was hit twice, and then, right? And then there was an upstrum for the actual chord. Now, the other subtle thing is I was playing open strings as a transition to each of the chords. All right, so it was A minor, D, G, C, F, D minor, E. But slightly in between each of those chords, there was an upstrum where it was an open string. So right, so that upstrum is really quick, and you hardly hear it. It's just the way it works is it blends into that next chord. All right, so yeah, it's definitely a transitional action that you're going to use there, right? So it's like boom. See how quick that was? It's like a little flicker, and it takes you into that next chord. Okay, so that's all it is. And we had I think you had a question there as far as one of the measures consisted of was like 3 chords in there. So you could just walk the 3 chords. What I mean by that is just, so it was a C, D minor, and then an E, and then you went right back to the, So yeah, all you have to do pretty much is just pay attention to the subtleties, because that upstrum is not something where you have to really play it so that it can be heard. You actually don't want to play it so that it can totally be heard. You want to play it so that it sounds like you're actually already going into the next chord. It gives you like a smooth transition in that chord pattern. It totally does, because you can just go. You see, what I started to do towards the end when I was just playing that very chord progression that way, I was like fighting not to do an upstrum. Here's what I mean. So I just did the upstrum, and that's how they actually play the rhythms acoustically. When they've got their acoustic guitars and they're playing, they might be covering a song or something. If you look really close, you're going to see an upstrum in there that acts as a transition. Okay, so remember, you don't want the transition to be blasted so that you're hearing that. You want a transition to be a transition where it's just a subtle jump into the next domain, right? So okay, and that's basically all there is to it. So what I want you to do is just in the video, just look at my right hand. I'm playing the chord where I'm using my thumb. I'm just playing a certain style because you're going to be going, you're just going to kind of be playing melodies in between those chords too. So that's why I have this kind of positioning and finger picking going on. Okay, because there's going to be a lot more things happening. but I want you to kind of ease into this style. You know what I mean? All right, so thank you very much. Practice, practice, practice all through the class. I noticed a lot of cool things. So overall, you did a fantastic job. This song here, though, Wild World, is just going to be a challenge, and we're just going to take it step by step. All right, thank you for your practice and your dedication, as always. It's been fun working with you today, and practice. See you soon, my friend. Bye-bye. God bless.